The idea of keeping it real, the notion of authenticity,
sure.
That's changed a lot in terms of what we'll accept as what's real, what we, what is perceived as the authentic versus what we're willing to accept as just the mediated truth.
Sure.
I mean, it goes to stuff like the notion of millionaire rappers talking about the struggle. I mean, this is stuff I kind of talked about in the review some. Or guys like Rick Ross, former corrections officer, now a hustler, I guess.
Sure.
And kind of how that works. I just had some questions in terms of, do you think that's just a product of kind of the spread of hip-hop and the democratization of it?
Well, the moment any culture turns into business, show business, it ceases to be quote unquote authentic. I mean, you can only experience a culture. The moment I say, "Oh, I love what those people are doing," we should put that on TV, and I put a title on it and to have them dress a certain way, it ceases to be what it really is anymore. So it's all show business, and the whole "keep it real" thing. The "keep it real" thing was a slogan. I mean, that "keep it real" was ironically not real at all. I mean, it's it's all showbiz, and I think what's one argument could be like in order for hip hop culture to exist fully and become immortal, it sort of had to reach outside of the Bronx. It had to reach the world somehow, some way, and I think despite all of the products and all of some of these questions of authenticity that come up, at the end of the day, the ideas of the cultural ideas also found a way to filter through it. So despite the blings and the guns and the and all of this, you still get this idea, you still get this message of what what the culture is about, at least what some of the norms and mores are. So I mean, it's showbiz, man. I mean, it can never be anything but that. I don't know if we would know what to do with an actual average. Would you go and pay money to see just like a regular dude, or a regular lady just stand on stage and be like normal, like just like, hey, so I got up today. Like it's all there has to be, because ultimately you're looking at you hang your hopes and your desires on that person that you see. We seek art to help us get some level of understanding, and so the artist, the art maker, has to put themselves in a position has to position themselves differently than I think the audience does. There's this sort of magical thing that happens, between the space between viewer and viewed. Anyway, I don't mean to get all.
I think that's interesting, and that's something I talked about kind of when you're talking about the battle between Lord Finesse and Percy P. I mean, that's something that especially like in footage of battles like that, where it's not necessarily on a stage.
Oh yeah.
Like the crowd, is so close and so, right up front that almost, some of those barriers are eliminated a little bit because, the crowd is not only judging, as well as viewing, but there's this sense of like, they've got them hemmed in and they, are tightening up the pressure more so I think than you would necessarily feel like a, just up on a stage and then there's the crowd down there.
Absolutely. No, that's an interesting point. Yeah, I mean, and that's what attracted me to that piece, because there's a whole battle league, internet-based battle league, and like dudes are like making careers and lots of money off of this. And my friends tell me, "Oh, you got to check out da 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 and da da da," and I sort of happened upon this battle that just was like, I mean, I'm sure there's still battles like this that happen somewhere in the world. How many of them have been documented in that way? I mean, it almost seemed as if they were like, "Hey guys, I just got a video camera. Why don't you do this battle and I'll bring my video camera?"
Yeah.
And what I love about that too, you talk about the crowd, is like the crowd switches throughout it. Like it was like a long. I mean, it's like they were battling all day, and there's like people who like watch a band and they're like, "Oh, I gotta go to work," and like I mean, the crowd switches, but the beat stays the same. It's like the same beat over and over again. But yeah, that's what I picked up. I mean, in thinking about this idea of authenticity, what is synthesized and what is actual, I thought that was a very good example of sort of that theme, that dynamic.